Good morning and a very warm welcome to Bonitas house called here on SABC2. Africa Chipembe, the Machero. I'm Dr. Victor Ramatesed. And I don't know what's Naga, Katu. Let Langwana has started time, Sessin, Metozo Haile Mashamararo, referral to Hora, Yabrobidusi. She's a former Miss South Africa who used the title and the platform it provides as a stepping stone to make inroads into the worlds of business and academia. She owns and manages a hugely successful media house and numerous other business ventures. She has had a fair share of health challenges, but continues to be a huge fan of wellness and a proponent of motivational speaking. A wife, a mother, and she somehow manages to juggle all these roles with such grace and aplomb that only she can master. And we are very delighted, honored, and privileged that she's our guest this morning. Basetsana
Kumalo is the executive chairman and CEO of Basetsana Women Investment Holdings. She is a mother and a wife. Basetsana holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of South Africa, where she majored in politics and communications. She's currently studying towards an honors degree in international relations. Basetsana also spends some time at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard and holds their diploma in executive education on global leadership. She also participated in the Leadership and Decision-Making in the 21st Century program at Yale University, together with Johanna, her sister, and 2 other partners. She owns a travel management company called Travel with Flair. This year, the business celebrates 20 successful years. She is also the CEO and co-founder of Connect Channel. Basetsana is also a television producer and owns Shwelapele Productions, together with her longtime partner, Patience Stevens. Basetsana is a member of the Young Global Leaders with the World Economic Forum and serves on the board of Love Life, South Africa's largest national HIV prevention organization for young people. She also serves on the Nelson Mandela Institute for Education and Rural Development and is a board member of JAM. Basetsana was crowned Miss South Africa in 1994 and first runner-up at the Miss World pageant. Together with her husband Romeo, they established the Romeo and Basetsana Kumalo Family Foundation that focuses on looking after child-headed households and children who have been orphaned by the HIV/AIDS pandemic.
Kiota, but don't forget to join our discussion by sending your questions and comments on Basetsana Kumalo by Bonitas at 33723. Basetsana Kumalo. When I started here, my dear, I said in the Machero.
I would wait and. Nazreen.
Do you want to explain?
I speak purebred Venda.
Yes.
I studied at the University of Venda many years ago, from 91 till 93. And so I'm multilingual. I have some talents.
Now let's talk about Basetsana Kumalo, but first, Makhalimeli.
Basetsana Makhalimele is a child born and bred in the hood.
Yes.
Mama was a teacher, Papa was a bus driver, but they're very enterprising parents. And I think to a large degree, they taught us the value of hard work, of determination, and of also never being afraid to fail and daring to dream. Yeah. So at home, I have 2 elder sisters, 1 younger brother, and we're born and raised in a God-fearing and God-loving home. We didn't have a lot of material stuff, but what we had a lot of was love. My parents instilled us a sense of self-worth, but equally so, they engineered and bred entrepreneurs, so to speak. After school, I used to sell boiled eggs up and down the street. Over the weekends, my siblings and I would sell sandwiches, chisanyama at soccer stadiums. My mother used to make curtains at the end of each month. And they started a construction company. Actually, it was a bricklaying company before that. They started a construction company because, you know, when our people were at least getting, you know, a bit more economically liberated, they would extend.
Garage and 2 rooms.
Stop nonsense.
Yes,
so they decided that there was an opportunity in the hood to be able to you know, start a construction company. And I mean, I can tell you stories on how I became an entrepreneur in my mother's kitchen, making sandwiches. I mean, we used to have an assembly line. Mama used to butter the bread. My elder sister, Lerato, who's a teacher by profession, used to do the filling. Papa used to cut the bread. My brother and I used to cling wrap. And then they used to give us boxes, and we used to hang our boxes and then be positioned and posted on different, you know, gate posts.
So the seed of entrepreneurship was planted at a very young age in your life.
I gleaned it from my mother's bosom. It runs in my DNA. It's an intravenous in me. I know no other thing to wake up every day but to champion a new narrative of what a black girl child can achieve. And so entrepreneurship really is something, I mean, I've been blessed in all of my life, 43 years of my life, that I've never worked for anybody. I've always been self-employed.
Lucky you.
But I don't take that for granted. I wake up every day because to whom much is given, much is expected. And therefore I have an opportunity to create jobs. I wake up every day and I'm making a tangible difference in the lives of South Africans. And so it's been a journey of hard work, but equally so, because when you grow up in an environment like that, you could either think that you are unfortunate when other kids are playing Kostrating, or now why it's But then in the later life, I look back and I'm so grateful for our parents who taught us how to pray, how to work hard, and how to rewrite this history of black excellence and black achievement.
Do you think if a lot of the things that happened to you, including the Miss South Africa title and many other things, if they did not happen during that particular phase of our history as a country, your life could have turned totally different?
I think so, Doc. I was very fortunate that I was crowned Miss South Africa at a very critical time in our history. New dispensation, new government, new leadership. And let me take you back a bit, because Mama firmly believed that idle time was a dangerous thing to a young mind. So she kept us busy. There was actually no time for us to be in the streets. So Kati weekends sometimes... In
Soweto, during those times, it
was
very
important. And she had 3 girl children that she had to keep off the streets. So you were also involved in the youth club, in a church choir. How can I live, you know, a beauty pageant down the road, again? And I think
the dance competition,
youth club, you were everywhere. And so she entered me into the Miss South Africa pageant. And lo and behold, I won the pageant. And I had to represent South Africa in the Miss World. And South Africa came second. It was India, South Africa, and Venezuela. But
I like that part. South Africa came second, not Basetsana came second.
South Africa came
because you represented the country.
I was an ambassador of a new nation, a winning nation, a nation where the world was watching. We were the beacon of hope. The continent was proud of what we were achieving here on the southern tip. And so it opened a whole new world for me, a world that I'd never imagined, a world that I had never dreamt of. I'd never wanted to become a Miss South Africa when I was growing up. I didn't look at myself in the mirror to think, you have the hallmarks of a Miss SA. No. It was a means to an end. We furnished my mother's home through beauty pageants, my sisters and I. Lerato won Miss King Kong, won a fridge. Lerato, Nico Johanna, we call her Nico Kolapeng. She won Miss Inter-University, she won an Uno. I won Miss Black SA before, by the way, we were allowed to enter Miss South Africa. And I won this lounge suite, a black and white, yadi leather, goma.
Okay.
And either you're winning a 2-plate stove. So my mother, in her wisdom, made sure that we furnished her home.
Okay. Got a beauty pageant.
Got a beauty pageant in that.
Now, a lot of the values that you describe, and to a large extent, developed at a very young age and by the manner in which your parents brought you up. I mean, when I look at that and I juxtapose that with one of your mentors, if you were, the late President Mandela, I see a lot of similarities. What made you click? Because, I mean, you and Madiba, I mean, we're big buddies, I mean, if you want to put it that way.
Doc Utata embraced me like one of his own. I remember when I won the pageant, it was September of 1994, and he called, and well, Zelda called to say, the president would like to speak to you. You're like, okay, this is a big joke, right? And indeed, Udada was on the phone to congratulate me and to say, you must understand your role, that you're an ambassador of a great country. And indeed, I was invited to have lunch with him. And when you're in the presence of such greatness, I was at a loss for words. I couldn't string two words together. My mouth was drying up. And
you're all by yourself?
Me, myself, and Umadiba.
Oh, okay.
And Udada, his humility, his sense of purpose and community, and just loving selflessly. I mean, he's embraced many of us across the nation, and at the time he actually offered me a scholarship to go and study in Georgetown. He knew my passion for politics, and I couldn't take the scholarship to go to Georgetown where Clinton studied. It's a good political school, because I realized the hour that which I had won was critical. And if I had to unplug myself, rather, out of the system in 1994, I wouldn't know when I came back 3-4 years later what, would
You'd
be...
have lost out quite a lot.
I think so. And I was at a stage where I wanted to build a business. So my 20s were about building my businesses and my different portfolio of interests in different industries. My 30s was about being a mother, and my 40s about consolidating and giving back. And so I had a clear game plan of what I wanted Miss South Africa to do for me. It was a great opportunity, but it was only going to last for 12 months. What was critical was what I was going to do with my life post the reign, the year of the reign.
Just at that point, lest I lose this. Now, clearly you had a plan, and the seeds of entrepreneurship were planted very early, so it was always obvious that you're going to end up in business. Now, as to which type of business, what informs that?
At the time, I didn't have a clear, landscape or tapestry of the exact type of business that I was going to get involved in. But as Miss South Africa, of course, I was exposed to the medium of television. I was interviewed across the world. And I fell in love with this medium. I fell in love with the cameras. I fell in love with what this medium can represent in spreading a particular message. So I decided that perhaps my calling, because my first degree was in teaching. And then when I won Miss SA, I was in my final year, but I didn't finish, I didn't graduate. Miss South Africa took a lot of my time, and I subsequently, after the reign and many years later, I decided to go back to school and then focus more did a degree in politics and communications. And television drew me in. I met my partner, Patience Stevens. We started Zwelipili Productions, and she already had the brainchild of Top Billing. Top Billing was about a year old on the airwaves. And so we partnered, we owned the company jointly, and we started to produce content that I'd like to believe in the lifestyle space of a genre. It's really, really worked well. Top Billing, we're celebrating 25 years this year. And it's been an incredible journey. I learned being a content specialist on the ground. I didn't go to school. I was mentored by many women, including Patience. I was inspired by women like Umam Felicia Mabuza Satel, Doreen Morris, who was the first Black woman on television. And so for me, television just drew me in, and I've never looked back. And I'm glad I made that decision.
A little bit later, we'll talk about your other business ventures. We'll continue our discussion with Basetsana Kumalo. You stay with us.